Okay, so today we're making our vegan chili mac and cheese. For this, we're going to use our Fromagerie Zangari smoky jalapeno flavor. We're going to put that in right at the end. We also have a package of macaroni noodles. So I've chosen a tortiglione noodle, just full to make it a little cuter to look at. I have 2 cups of vegetable broth, 2 sausages chopped up, so those are vegan sausages, some ground pepper, I have a little bit of olive oil, some tomato paste, salt. Our spices, we use some chili powder, cumin, little cayenne pepper, and oregano, 3 cloves of garlic minced, and then I have 1 white onion minced and half a red pepper, 1 18-ounce can of chopped tomatoes, 1 can of kidney beans, rinsed and drained and rinsed, and then our package of Fromagerie Zangari smoky jalapeno cashew cheese. So I'm in love with my Instant Pot. I got it last Christmas. I've been experimenting with it ever since. We're gonna start this recipe by turning it on saute. Might take a little while to warm up. I'm gonna just put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of my pan. And we're going to start sauteing our onions and red pepper. So we're just gonna saute the onion and chopped red pepper until the onion is translucent. That should take 3 to 5 minutes. Might take a little while for your Instant Pot to warm up, so be patient. I know it's supposed to be an instant pot, but it takes more than an instant to warm up. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Now once my onions are translucent and softened, I'm going to add my minced garlic. Be careful not to let it burn, so you want to keep mixing. I am just loving my Instant Pot these days. I've used it to make so many different things, from rice to baked potatoes, to sweet potatoes, to this chili mac and cheese. So I'm just wondering, what are you guys making in your Instant Pots these days? Comment in the comments below and let me know what your favorite Instant Pot recipes are. Okay, now that this is almost cooked, I'm going to add my veggie sausage. So I used some Gouda sausage in here. I just chopped them into little half moons, but you can chop them smaller or crumble them up if you prefer. I'm just going to let that warm through. Let the sausage start to brown just a little bit. Okay, so now we are ready to add all of our other ingredients. I'm going to start with 1 can of diced tomatoes. And I'm going to add 2 cups of vegetable broth. And I'm going to add my spices. So we have 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of oregano. And then I'm going to add just over 1 teaspoon, about 1.5 teaspoons of salt to that. And I'm going to add my rinsed kidney beans. That's just 1 can of kidney beans, rinsed. And then I'm going to add my special pasta. You need about 8 ounces of pasta in here. You could use just regular mac and cheese macaroni noodles, but these little spirals I thought were kind of cute, so we're gonna use those today. And I was a little nervous at first cooking pasta in my Instant Pot. I was afraid it was just gonna be one big mushy mess, but it turned out really well. So the pasta comes out just al dente, just about perfect. And when you reheat it, it doesn't get mushy either. So we just wanna give that a little mix. So I like to use tomato paste in this little squeeze tube. I'm gonna put in about 2 tablespoons, because this way I can just put the cap back on, and if I don't use a whole can, I can put it back in the fridge and it won't go bad. So that ideally should be mixed in with the tomatoes before you add the pasta, but sometimes things don't go according to plan. Okay. There we go, we're ready to pressure cook this. I'm gonna put the lid on, lock it in place, make sure that my vent is to seal, and then I'm gonna turn off the saute, and we click pressure cook, set it for 4 minutes, and leave it to go. You could have a little glass of wine while it's cooking, and then wait for it to release. So our chili mac and cheese has cooked for 4 minutes, and we have let it vent according to directions from the Instant Pot people. So we're just going to open it up. You have to be careful, you let all the steam escape, follow the directions, of course. So inside we have our beautiful mac and chili, and now we have to add the cheese part. So we're going to take our wheel of Zengari, Fromagerie Zengari, smoky jalapeno, cashew cheese, and I'm going to, so I'm just going to cut it up quickly inside the container and then dump it all in there. And then mix it up until it's uniformly distributed throughout. You want to do this while it's nice and hot so that the macaroni and chili melts the cheese and it all gets beautifully mixed in. Smells amazing. So it does take a while for your Instant Pot to vent, but you don't really have to be watching it or anything. You can go off and do the laundry or read a story with the kids or even go to soccer practice and come back and everything will be ready for you for dinner. So this is looking really great. Very cheesy. I'm just going to add a few twists of freshly ground pepper. So if you like it a little spicier, you can up the quantity of chili powder, or not chili powder, cayenne pepper in there. I'll give it a little more spice if you like the more caliente chili. This is looking amazing. So I'm just gonna plate it up. We've got our beans in there for protein. And it's just so delicious. There we go. I'm just gonna add a little bit of garnish. You could use cilantro, or right here I have some just chopped chives. Your little splash of green. So there you go. Delicious chili vegan mac and cheese in no time, really. It was so easy, and your family is really gonna love it.
All right, so we're gonna start off with a cup of nutritional yeast, If you're not familiar with nutritional yeast, it's an inactive yeast. A lot of vegans use this as a substitute to make like a vegan mac and cheese. Obviously, it has that cheesy flavor, nutty flavor. So we have a cup of nutritional yeast, and this is packed with vitamin B12 as well, so this is great. We have a teaspoon of paprika. We have, like a fourth of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I didn't have a clove of garlic. I always use 1 clove of garlic in here, so I'm just substituting the garlic powder. We're going to be using like about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a cup of unsweetened soy milk. If you don't have soy milk, you could substitute another milk, something that doesn't have a really like strong flavor. I would steer away with anything that has like a vanilla flavor in it. I've done that before because I want to make it, and then I realize at the last second the only plant-based milk I have is like almond milk with vanilla, and I'm like, oh no, and it does not taste good, so do not do that. All right, and we have about a third of a cup of a vegetable oil. We're going to use salt and pepper to taste at the end. And then tamari, we're going to be using about a fourth of a cup. If you're not familiar with tamari, it's just a different type of soy sauce. It's gluten-free. Has a little bit of different taste. I prefer it in this, but if you don't have tamari and you have another soy sauce, feel free to use that, like a Bragg's. And then I'm using Elbows. I'm using 1 pound of Elbows, and it's gluten-free as well. So this whole recipe is suitable for anyone who's following a gluten-free diet. It just happens that way that I'm making it with gluten-free pasta and gluten-free soy sauce. So all we're gonna do, I already boiled my pasta already. It's done, 1 pound of Elbow pasta. All we're going to do is put these ingredients in the food processor. We're going to start off with our dry ingredients and then gradually put in our wet ingredients to make the sauce. All right, so let's get started. Thank you for joining me. Putting our dry ingredients, so I have a cup of nutritional yeast, a fourth of a teaspoon of garlic powder. If you have a clove of garlic, use that instead. A teaspoon of paprika, and then we're just going to mix this so it's combined. And then we will add our wet ingredients. Everything's mixed. Let me show you what it looks like. This is so yummy. So this is our yummy sauce. And our next step is I'm just gonna throw this in a pan on the stove top just to heat it a little bit. And then I'm gonna throw some black pepper and I'll taste it to see if it needs any salt. We're back. So it's all done. This is the finished product. So again, I just heated up that sauce just to take the chill out of it because it was at room temperature. And I added some black pepper. I tasted it. It didn't need any salt. The tamari has enough salt, but sometimes you do need it. So just taste it, and it's up to you. It's your flavor profile, however you prefer your food. But this is the yummy vegan mac and cheese. So simple. Again, this is 1 pound of gluten-free elbow pasta. You could definitely double this recipe depending who you're feeding. But like I said, my family loves this. I've been making this for years, and I am the only vegan in my family, and they love this. If you've never tried nutritional yeast, it might take a little getting used to. Even when I first had it, I was like, I don't know about this. It's a totally different flavor, but it grew on me and I love it. It's so good. Just wait, it's so addicting. I could throw this sauce just like on anything and I would eat it. It's so delicious. Let me taste. Oh my goodness. It's so good, you guys. And if you wanted to jazz this up a little bit, you could brown some breadcrumbs and throw them on top to get a little crunch, a little different texture. But I could eat this as is all day.